This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 100 times your entry with Underdog Fantasy. Pick 'em. Sign up code GOLF SGPN. That's code GOLF SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Golf SGPN Underdog Fantasy. We're also got the Mega Memorial merch sale, 15% off everything in the SGPN merch store with the promo code SGPN May. A few ad reads, one more. It's the biggest week in racing, Indy 500, Monaco Grand Prix, and the Coke 600. Rod and Cody from the NASCAR Gambling Podcast and F1 Gambling Podcast have you covered. Make sure to join their discussion. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/race to register and subscribe to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast and F1 Gambling Podcast. If you like watching racing, definitely check them out. They will definitely help you out. And then Memorial Day sale, SGPN May, 15% off. Go check that out. Let's get into the golf. We have the Charles Schwab Challenge from Fort Worth. Little bit of a major. Sorry, I'm talking way too fast today. I'm just giddy after Xander Schauffele last week. I really can't believe this meant that Xander won a major. If Xander didn't win Xander winning a major is so crazy that it's overshadowing the number one player in the world getting fucking arrested. But Xander won a major, and here we are. But let's talk Charles Schwab Challenge. Some renovations with the course, but nothing overly dramatic. It's still going to play as one of the toughest short golf courses in the entire world. Anytime you get back-to-back years of winners under in single digits, that's playing golf. And we're going to see something similar to this week. We could see a little bit more birdies, maybe 12 under wins it this week. But I still think, nonetheless, it's going to be a great golf tournament. So I'm not going to talk too much about the PGA Championship because we've done it all week. You guys know where I was standing. I had that Xander Schauffele ticket. I was very heavily rooting on for Xander, and he pulled it through. So let's bring up the DFS board. Let's get into this week because we got to move on. Scotty Scheffler leads the way at 13-3. As of now, I do expect him to play this event. You think Scotty, he wants to play at least one Dallas event. He didn't play the Byron. This makes a ton more sense. Followed by Colin Morikawa, Jordan Spieth, and Max Homa, all above 10K. Got to make some choices up here. And let's see. We pencil in Scotty at 13-3. We are left with 77.3. That is something you can build with because we have a 5K range, and which we'll get there when we get there. But sometimes, like Harbortown, I didn't think you could build with Scotty. And even though he won, he was not in some winning lineups. So this week, Scotty Scheffler, if he wins, even at 13-3, will be a key necessity to your lineups because we have that 5K range. It's simply just math, and it checks out. Scotty is definitely a attainable DFS slot this week. So I don't want to say like every week I can say, oh, Scotty's gaining X strokes ball striking. He's doing this well. Yeah, it's fucking Scotty Scheffler. It's more about does he make sense in your pool or not? And this week, he definitely can make sense. But looking at Scotty Scheffler's course 3, Scotty Scheffler's strokes gained around Colonial, he laps the field every single time. Can he make those putts? That's just a flipping of a coin. Will he do it? But nonetheless, I don't think Scotty Scheffler is a bad play at all. He makes sense this week for sure. Now the question is, if you don't want to play Scotty Scheffler, which guy from the top are you going to play? Colin Morikawa at 11, Jordan Spieth at 10-6, or Max Homa at 10-4. Where do I think the chalk is going to go to? I think people are going to run to Max Homa because he's one, the cheapest guy. He's two, a guy that people just love. It's Max Homa. And he's got a T10 here in his career recently. Or maybe Colin Morikawa. Colin Morikawa has been playing good golf. He was just in the mix at Augusta, in the mix at the PGA Championship. They see that name, it makes sense. And he has a runner-up here in his career too. Where I think the guy who will get squeezed out is Jordan Spieth. And, I mean, rightfully so. He hasn't really played amazing golf, but this is one of few courses on the entire PGA Tour where course history is so important. You can come in any X amount of form and just do it. And that's all. I mean, a lot of Texas courses are like that, to be honest. But Colonial also is an extreme. And it's because of the nuance. It's because of the sight lines. We see guys like Jordan, Sam Burns, Jason Kokrak when he won, take a lot more drivers than the rest of the field. That's because it's very cluttered. It's very condensed around Colonial that you simply like, you're on the tee. You're like, I can't hit a driver here. It's condensed here. I got to put it in the fairway. But guys that play here year in, year out and play here well year in, year out, like they know they can take these aggressive lines. And if you're hitting the driver well, it's rewarding. And although Jordan hasn't done anything good the last few months of the season, he is. I don't know what Jordan is doing off the tee because it is insane. He is driving the ball as good as anyone in the world right now, but he has maybe Greller's hitting his iron shots because his iron numbers are so horrific. His driving numbers are so good. So I think the combination of him getting squeezed out in this 10K range, added with his course history on Colonial, added with his elite driving that he's brought to the table this last month of the season, will do good things. I really do, because he's going to take those extreme lines, and if he's driving it well, he's going to have a lot less club into greens, a lot more wedges in the field, and then from there you just go play. And I do trust Jordan Spieth in Texas. I do trust Jordan Spieth at Colonial, and this driver is really awesome. And at 12%, why not? Why not run the dice on Jordan Spieth? Because there's going to be a lot of long shots in the mix. You're going to have to maybe pick one or two of these guys in this 10K range to sprinkle in your lineups. And I think Jordan Spieth is an integral part that you want to play in your lineup. So let's go talk about the 9K range a little bit. So let me scroll down. We got Tony Finau at 9.9 down to Harris English at 9K. Minwoo Lee 9.7. Siwoo Kim 9.6. I do think this chalky range is going to be Siwoo Kim down to Tom Hoge, this 9.3 to 9.6 range. I would rank them from chalk. My chalk would be Brian Harman most, Tom Hoge second, Siwoo Kim third, Sungjae Im fourth in this range. Brian Harman's at one of the highest prices we've seen him in a while, and it makes sense. Recently, he's gained strokes on approach in his last two starts, which he hasn't done in a while, and he's got good course history, and this is a course that screams Brian Harman. You want Brian Harman on a shorter course, so it's not rocket science why I think he'd be chalk, and he's at a fair price. Obviously has a ceiling to win the golf tournament. And then from there, Tom Hoge. Tom Hoge is always stripes his irons, and this is a course that Tom Hoge should really play well on. But when you look at his course history, he really hasn't played well here. And it's crazy because Tom Hoge has a lot of these courses where you would think it screams Tom Hoge, and then you look at his history, and it's not great. I do think that has to do with like the home game Dallas narrative. Tom Hoge went to college at TCU. He's got a bunch of friends and family in this Fort Worth area. That adds a lot of pressure on a golfer. And for a golfer of Tom Hoge's stature, like he's not a world beater, I think that's too much pressure to handle the home game narrative. So I'm going to fade Tom Hoge for sure. I could see myself getting to Brian Harman here and there. But Siwoo Kim makes so much sense, but his price is just absurd. Like 9.6 Siwoo Kim. 9.6 Siwoo Kim has the same ceiling as 6.9 Siwoo Kim. Super volatile, but super rewarding. I think it just depends on ownership, what we'll have later in the week. But Siwoo, yeah, he lives in Dallas too. I think he can fuck for sure. I could see myself starting my betting card with Siwoo Kim like 35-1, even though it is a bit ugly. But Siwoo and then Sungjae. Sungjae, I think, is a great bounce back candidate. He's found something with the ball striking of late. When you look at his results from PGA Championship, he hit the ball well, even though he missed the cut, and he lost infinity strokes putting. Now I have a quick story to tell about Sungjae. I was at Valhalla last week, obviously for all the practice rounds, and I became close enough with his caddy, Willie Wilcox, to shoot him a text, say, "What time are you guys playing?" He responded, "We're playing the front nine at noon." So I go over to, this is probably about like 12:40, 1 o'clock. I walk past the range. Sungjae and Willie are still in the putting green. And I'm like, oh, all right, maybe Sungjae just wants to work on putting. So I forget about it. The next morning I go back out there. This is Thursday morning of the golf. Sungjae is waiting for his tee time. I see him miss 5 straight 5-foot putts in a row. I'm like, dude, this dude's really grinding on his putting greens. He must need to figure it out quickly. Turns out to miss the cut. Look at his stats. He loses so many strokes putting. So clearly Sungjae was not comfortable on those putting greens. And when you look, it was bent grass. Sungjae's never the best bent grass putter. Sadly, it's bent grass again this week, but I don't see him putting worse than he did last week. A little bit of a bounce back spot. I don't love it, but I can see him bouncing back here. So let's pull the DraftKings board back up. So underneath this range, also Minwoo Lee is an absurd price. Minwoo Lee is if you didn't have to hit iron shots, Minwoo Lee would be world number 1. The sad thing about Colonial is it's so iron driven and precision driven that it's such a key stat, and Minwoo Lee at 9.7. I can see him missing this cut. Tony Finau's got good course history, and he's striping the ball. Probably will garner some ownership, but I don't love Tony Finau's drive right now. Truthfully, I really like drive as in motivation and want. It just doesn't seem like he cares out there. So I'm gonna live on that take. Harris English, Adam Scott, no real feelings. I'm gonna live in this 9.3 to 9.6 range, even though it could get a little chalky. I will get different elsewhere. So let's get on to the 8K range. But before we do that, talk to you quickly about Underdog Fantasy. The NBA playoffs are here, and our sponsor Underdog wants to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Play their pick 'em game. It's as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats. You can make entries of basketball or mix and match, throw some golf in there, win up to 100 times your money. Underdog is available in 30 states, including California, Texas, and even Canada. Follow me on Twitter. I'm posting those Underdog blogs daily. They're there Wednesday through Saturday night. If it's not on Twitter, it's over at SGP sportsgamblingpodcastnetwork.com. So giving out 2 to 3 Underdog picks per day. So Underdog is available in 30 states, California, Texas, and Canada. Code GOLF SGPN gets you a special pick plus a first-time deposit offer up to $250. So code GOLF SGPN, get over to Underdog Fantasy. And finally, Rhythm. Rhythm is a new sponsor. If you plan on watching the Charles Schwab Challenge this week, you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm's golf features make it easier than ever to find the best opportunities for the Charles Schwab, letting users create custom models and after they create the models, instantly see recommendations for outrights, top 5, top 10. This is Rhythm, spelled RITHMM. Rhythm features an AI caddy, which gives bettors a chance to see every single golfer in the field simulated performance, thanks to their powerful AI algorithm. Really cool stuff they got going on with Rhythm. Huge plus money opportunities on golf. Ultimate golf betting and DFS companion. Download now and start a 7-day free trial for the Charles Schwab Challenge. Rhythm is available wherever you get your apps. And then finally, that's it. That's all the ads we have. So Rhythm. So let's get over to this 8K range. Let me pull it up. 8K range. Christian Bezadenhout down to Thomas Dietrich. There we go. Perfect fits the screen. Seabez. I think Seabez is a really good target this week. He's just such a safe golfer. You know what you're getting. Fairways and greens, and that will definitely play around Colonial. Love him on bank grass as well. Played all right last week. That's just like he finished T21 2 straight years, and that's just what he'll do. Like he'll finish T20, which can definitely play in your lineups at 8-9. You don't need him to win the tournament. So I'm down for Seabass. I wonder what the narrative around Billy Horschel is going to be. He backdoored the top 10 at the PGA Championship. Outside of that, he's got a great record in Texas. Like he's got a great record in Texas. He always fucks in Texas. You think he fucks in Florida? Look at his Texas record. He plays really well in Texas. I think I like Keith Mitchell a lot more though at $8,600. Keith Mitchell missed the cut, but that was the first poor iron week he had ever, ever in a long time. Keith Mitchell has had plenty of poor iron weeks, but that was the first poor iron week he's had in a long time. And I can see that bouncing back, although his driver will get mitigated, but he'll be at 8%. So I don't mind that. Justin Rose will garner a ton of chalk, and I do not like that at all. He's had his best approach week since the Hero World Challenge, but he's got great course history here. So that means he's going to be very, very chalky. But this man was not playing good golf at all besides the PGA. So you're going to get a golfer who had one good week, play him at 16% next week, and then he's going to miss the cut. I'm definitely out on Justin Rose. I love Chris Kirk. Chris Kirk has played this event 11 times, I believe, 13 times, and he's only missed one cut. Shit, I lost my shit. Chris Kirk has only missed one cut in 13 trips, to Colonial, and he's won here before. He lost strokes on approach at PGA Championship, but Chris Kirk was never gaining strokes on approach at the PGA Championship. That's a big boy golf course with a ton of long irons. You want Chris Kirk when he's hitting short irons, and this is what you're going to get at Colonial. So I love him. He's not going to be overly owned because a lot of people are going to go to Justin Rose. So Chris Kirk at, what's his price? Where is he? Oh, shit, now my screen's all getting fucked up. Chris Kirk, 84. Love that. Sepp is going to garner some ownership. He's really been playing well. Tom Kim at 8-2 is very interesting. What is Tom Kim's course history? I'm not 100% sure about that. I pride myself on knowing like everyone's course history off the top of my head, but sometimes I just don't. So let me look at Tom Kim's course history around Colonial and see what he's been up to. It's just not been great. Like the approach numbers aren't great. Oh, he's never played this event? That's weird. This is a golf course that should fit Tom. That's why I don't know his course history, because he's never fucking played here. This is a golf course that definitely should fit Tom Kim's build. Think precision off the tee and great short irons. Like that screams Tom Kim. Hopefully he found something at the PGA Championship, because he was around on Friday, Saturday. I don't hate him at 8-2 because I think Thomas Dietrich's going to garner some love. Maybe Keegan Bradley too, because he flashed up. Thomas Dietrich, I don't like at all this week. Thomas Dietrich did it all with the putter. And this is a golf course where you have to hit your irons well. And truthfully, I don't think he has the iron ceiling to gain enough strokes with the iron. So I'm going to have to give a backseat to Thomas Dietrich here. I much prefer Tom Kim, Chris Kirk down in the bottoms of the 7K range. So, or 8K range. So let's go to the 7K range. We have Akshay Bhatia at 7.9 down to B Todd at 7K flat. So Akshay and Taylor Moore, these two guys, I can see them being similar ownership. If you're looking at the Valspar comp, Taylor Moore could definitely garner a lot of love. Akshay coming off of a missed cut, but he absolutely striped the ball last week, even though he missed the cut. Winner in Texas, similar style of golf. I definitely love Akshay to bounce back. Mark Hubbard will garner some ownership, because whenever he pops up on a leaderboard, he is instantly chalky the next week, and I never like that with Mark Hubbard. I prefer Maverick McNeely. Maverick McNeely, I'm not sure if you saw my tweet. This is the only golf course he's played 3 times or more, and he's gained strokes on approach every single time. He's started here 6 times, and he's gained strokes on approach every time. If you know anything about Maverick McNeely, he's a shitty approach player. But if he's got something going here, and I mentioned this is a course where course history is real, the sight lines are real. So we know Maverick's an elite putter. If he can find that approach play here again, I'm down. And he's gained on approach in 3 straight starts. I love that with Maverick. Ricky Fowler, the thing that's been killing him is the driver, but the driver gets really mitigated here, so that could definitely lead him to success. I don't mind Ricky Fowler. I want to see what Ricky Fowler's done here historically, because I can definitely see myself get into some Rick here at this price and ownership. Fowler, Charles Schwab, Ricky Fowler. So he's played this event a ton of times. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 starts, 2 missed cuts, 2 top 5s. And he finished T6 here last year, losing strokes off the tee, which checks out. And this is an event, this kind of started that like run, around this time last year was when Ricky started to get good. So I definitely like Ricky and Maverick down here. I like Eckroat. I mean, not Eckroat. I like Bhatia up top, but I love Eckroat too. Eckroat finished T16 here last year, and he's a guy who gained strokes on approach, a great iron player. Definitely like some Eckroat. This is a really fun range. Adam Shank, $7,400. He's lost strokes on approach in his last 2 tournaments, but his last 2 tournaments were the PGA Championship and the Wells Fargo. Quail Hollow and Valhalla are not courses where you'd expect Adam Shank to gain strokes on approach. So this is definitely suits his style more than the last 2 weeks did, and he finished runner-up here last year. Hopefully his recent results keep his ownership down, because I love Adam Shank here. And then Nikolai Horgard, $7,300. That is a massive underprice. Remember in like a shitty event in Mexico, Nikolai was like 10-5 or something like that, or Corrales, he was like 10-1. Nikolai is a future top 10 player in the world, and he just had his best approach week since January? What are we doing here? Nikolai, yes, I love that. I absolutely love that. Grillo, defending champion. He's playing horrific golf. Lee Hodges is going to garner some ownership. I don't love it. Rio, if you know me, you know I love Rio Hisatsune every single week, and he's T20 yes again. This is a great golf course for Rio. Rio can hit those short irons better than a lot of people, and that will get rewarded. He's not the best or the longest driver in the world. That gets mitigated here, so I'm definitely down for some Rio at 71. Touch on the 6K range real quick before we get out of here, but not too crazy, because the 6K range is our specialty, and we have our own show on that later tonight. So Also, I like B Todd at 7K. Bob Mack, 7K, fade. You don't want to play Bob Mack when he's chalky. You want to play Bob Mack at like uber difficult venues. This is a difficult venue. It's not the I take that back. If Bob Mack is more than 14% out, which would be crazy, sub 14%, I can get down with some Bob Mack. So let's run through this 6K range real quick. Vic Perez had his first bad week in a long time at $6,700, but this is a golf course that rewards great iron play, and Victor Perez definitely has that going this season. Hopefully he can bounce back after a poor week at Valhalla. Let's go screen work. Whereas Alex Smalley, 6'7", I like him too. Played all right here, and this golf course screams Alex Smalley. Svensson should make sense. Hasn't been playing great. Let me do a deep dive of Svensson, because you guys, this is gonna come later, but I want to talk about it real quick because we're here. So Adam Svensson didn't have a great week. Didn't have a good week at Valhalla, but outside of that, it's been only bad week. It was Harbor Town. Look at his course history. T40 in one trip, gaining 3 strokes ball striking. I don't hate that at all. I don't hate that. What about, can I give you a 5K bullet before we get out of here? Can I give you a 5K bullet and we'll build a lineup or something? I'm not sure. Chandler Phillips. Okay, let's talk about Chandler Phillips. Chandler Phillips, Texas A&M Aggie. Chandler Phillips was top 10 at the Valspar, and Chandler Phillips's best game is approach. Those 3 dots make sense for Colonial. And obviously, he's not in the best of form. That's why he's in the 5K range. But he's shown signs to playing well here. So I'm definitely down for Chandler Phillips, and that's where we'll start our lineup. So we have plenty of room to go. So we get Chandler Phillips. You don't have to go in the 6K range if you don't want to. Then we go to Scotty. Then we're left with 7-8, and I love the 7K range. Oh my God, this is beautiful. Nikolai Shank, probably winning. Then we can go up to the 8K range. Who do I love in the 8K range? I like the 7K range better, truthfully. Akshay. Then we got 8-8 to work with. Kirk would probably be the pick, but do I like anyone more than Chris Kirk? Maverick. You got Scotty Scheffler in there. This is, oh my God, this lineup is absurd. This lineup is absurd. If you start with Chandler Phillips at 5'3", you can put Scotty freaking Scheffler in there, and then you have this Nikolai to Maverick. These guys all have top 5 equity with a ceiling. Yeah, I mean a floor of a missed cut, but I don't see these guys missing the cut. The real bullet is Chandler. If Chandler can get through the cut, you guys could rock here. I really do like this lineup. So that's a quick 25 minutes on the Charles Schwab DFS preview. Hope you enjoyed that. Tune in tonight. We have the 6K and 5K videos, and then I have the Gannon's Cannons, as we call it now, going through outright T5, T10, all the way down to top 40. So tune in for those. Keep the notifications on. Follow me on Twitter. DM me with any questions. Give me shit when I have a shitty take. Praise me when I have a good take. I'm trying to be great. Thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you guys soon.